Is this the new hack that's going to make barbecue taste even better? Let's find out.
Big thanks to Kamado Joe for sponsoring this episode.
Recently I made a burger video about a Michelin star burger, and the burger was amazing, but when I did the studies and I checked up on how did they make it and how is their process working, I saw something else, something that was very much intriguing. And I used that actually already in one of my videos, that technique. But now we're going to try and do it properly to see if we can make real barbecue taste even better by using this method. And this is the star of the show, veal cheeks. Now most of the time they call them beef cheeks, but in reality they are veal cheeks. If I look at their size of cheeks, they're not from beef, they're real veal cheeks. And the reason that I call it veal cheeks is because they're smaller, they're this size. And it kind of makes sense because if you use the smaller size, it's more of like a bite-sized portion and you can feed someone a whole cheek. And if I take a look at them, they have plenty of marbling, so they look fantastic. Now, if you guessed the restaurant that I'm talking about, of course I'm talking about Leroy and Lewis. They have made some real progress in barbecue and getting ahead of the game and transforming it from like a real simple version of barbecue to a somewhat more elevated version of barbecue, where they still keep in touch with the original flavors, but they also developed some techniques so that they can present a better product. Now making this is going to be very simple. I'm just going to season this with the Pitmaster Texas seasoning. Since Leroy and Lewis are in Texas, we're going to go full on Texas style. And I'm going to season both sides. Now of course you can remove the membrane if you want. I'm just going to keep this whole process as simple as possible. And what I'm putting on is salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder. So any good SPG will do a good job as long as the structure is coarse enough. And look at that. Beautiful veal cheeks ready to hit the barbecue. So let's fire up the Kamado Joe and get started. Look at this monster. It is an absolute giant, and of course it's way too big for this project. However, for what we're going to do later on, I need to insert something that is way bigger. So I thought I'm just going to go big for safety purposes so we can actually perform this test and make sure that we have as much as possible in place to make it succeed. Of course, the first thing to do is remove the old ashes, clean out the ashtray, some fresh big block charcoal, and a chunk of smoke wood. I'm going to put the heat deflectors in place, grill grates in place, close the lid, and now all I need to do is hit the ignite button, set the temperature. It tells me to close the bottom vent, and then I can take it, well, it's actually already at 225. I'm going to take it up to 240, 250, and then hit the ignite button. Now it tells me to open up the top vent all the way so the barbecue can start up as fast as possible. Adjust the top vent to almost all the way closed, and now we can add the beef cheeks to the barbecue. Got a nice bit of smoke, put the beef cheeks on, and we're going to do the first phase of the cook, and that is to smoke the beef cheeks until we get the right color and flavor profile that we're looking for. The beef cheeks are closing in on a core temperature of 70 degrees Celsius. And that means that I would normally take them off. So let's take a look at what they look like. Look at that. We got a beautiful bark building up, nice crusty exterior. It's drying up. Not dry everywhere as much, but the mahogany color is there, and that means they picked up the smoke flavor. But we've been running at 1 hour and 20 minutes at the moment, and I want to take it a little further. A little drier, crustier exterior is what I'm aiming for. So I'm going to let it continue to cook, and maybe I will even go up to 2 hours of smoking. We might as well make good use of that time and start on the next phase of the project. So this is obviously a tray, like a professional kitchen tray, but you can use like an oven tray. That's going to be just fine. In the Netherlands we call this ossewit, and that is 100% premium beef tallow. I don't think we're able to fit the whole thing and then feed the beef cheeks afterwards. So what are we going to do? I'm just going to take a big chunk that I think I'm going to need to submerge. I'm gonna guess this is the amount that I need. I have this at room temperature, which at the moment is plenty hot for it to be soft. So melting it shouldn't be much of a challenge. See that much? And now I'm just gonna put this in the barbecue together with the beef cheeks and let it melt. That way it's gonna go up to temperature. And that is why I needed the Big Joe, to make sure I had enough surface. And honestly, the smaller version, the classic, it's in use at the moment. So this is what we have to do with. Let's see how long it takes for these beef cheeks to get on point on the color. So we just completed the 2 hours of smoking. Let's check. Ooh, that's looking good. This is the color that I'm looking for. Now I've got a lot more mahogany color on the beef cheeks. I've got a beautiful bark on the outside. They dried up and crispened up. This is what I'm looking for. This is more and more flavor than we had before. And if I measure the temperature, they're about, I'm always aiming for the lowest temperature, just 75, 73 at the top. Ooh, that's soft already. 81, that's 90, 87, 83. So on the bottom they're a little bit warmer than on the top, and that's why I'm gonna give them a flip. See that? Juices are starting to run out. And I'm gonna cook them until they have a core temperature of about 94 degrees Celsius. I'm gonna go a little higher than I would normally with brisket, because what I really want, if you bite into them, is just gonna be soft and juicy, a little bit on the overcooked side, but not fall apart tender. So we're now in 2 hours and 40 minutes smoking the beef cheeks, and we're getting super close. We're currently at 83 here, 80, 79. You see that the top again cooled down a little bit. This is definitely soft. We're here closing on. This is really soft. So 96, this is where I want to be. 98. These two are done. These two are almost done, not there yet. And the beef tallow is at low all the way to the bottom. 90, 94. Let me get away from the edge. Ooh, the beef tallow is hot. I'm going to take 2 of the beef cheeks and put them in the beef tallow. There we go, inside the beef tallow. And with these high temperatures on the beef tallow, I'm just debating myself, am I need to go all the way up with this because it looks spectacular. 52, I'm just gonna let it go a little longer. Flip it, put it apparently on a hotter side, close the lid, give it about 10 more minutes or so till I get that real 92 to 94 degrees Celsius. And the funny thing is that you can actually experience it when you probe it with a thermometer. You can feel that the resistance just disappeared. And that is the moment the rest of the beef cheeks are going in the beef tallow. And that is the part of the cook that is called the hold. So now just imagine you're doing the 4-2-10 method. You're doing 4 hours of smoking at a low temperature. If you got puddling, you're going to raise up the temperature from smoking at 120 degrees Celsius, which is around 240 degrees Fahrenheit. You're going to take it up to about 140 to 150 degrees Celsius. Get rid of the puddling, get that nice bark and crust, and melt down the fat properly. Normally, of course, I would wrap it in butcher's paper and hold it maybe in the oven. And now we're going to change that and hold it in the beef tallow. So we're going to skip the whole part, just smoke it all the way through and cut it into 2. It's like smoke it, that's one step, and straight to hold it. To make the whole process easy, it's better for restaurants, but baby, it's also better for us. And that's what we're here to find out. Now the rest can go in, and I can see that the beef tallow is getting a little hotter than I want to. So I'm going to take the beef tallow off the barbecue before it gets too hot, and we actually are going to start frying it. Now of course there is a challenge to the hold. You want to start at the temperature where the beef cheeks were at. So that is, see, it's going a little over at the moment, but it's not the same everywhere, but it's a little over, and that's why I'm taking it off. So I hope it cools down fast enough. And it's not like we're frying at the moment, but it's definitely a little on the hot side. Now, the idea behind the hold is that it's easy to serve up. So the beef cheeks are basically ready. We cook them to the point where they become soft and tender. However, the structure of the meat has not been given the time to break down completely and give you that super soft experience, that barbecue restaurant experience. So to get that, we need more time. Now that is what the hold is for. We're going to let it slowly cook down and then hold it at the temperature you want to be eating it at. At 90 degrees Celsius core temperature, it's going to be just too hot to eat. You're going to burn your mouth. At 65 degrees Celsius is the temperature that you're not going to burn your mouth anymore. So that is the desired temperature. Now, how am I going to hold this at that temperature? Well, I'm going to put the lid on, and then I'm going to put it in my oven, set that to 65 degrees Celsius, and then leave it there for at least 3 hours so it can cool down to that exact temperature. Now let's take a look and find out what we got. Oh, look at that. The cool thing is that I can instantly see that the crust is still intact. The bark is still as the bark is supposed to be. Got a nice dark black bark. All right, let's put this on the plate. Look at this beauty. Isn't she gorgeous? I'm thinking I can slice this with a fork, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do, because that is how soft it is supposed to be, in my opinion. Look at that. Cut with a fork. Look at how juicy it is. Let's do a little squeeze. I want it super, super close. This is super, super soft. The bark is perfect. The juiciness is perfect. We got a nice smoke ring. If this tastes as good as it looks, this is probably going to change the future of barbecue. I'm telling you. Let's do a taste test. This is ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. Let me grab my editor, Jim. He needs to taste this. You see, this is the thing. This is like, it is so mind-blowing good. I want to see his reaction. If he cuts it with a fork, when he starts eating it, I want him to experience what I experience and then tell me I'm not delusional, because this is really, really good. My mind's going 100 miles an hour. I'm thinking of all the things that are going to happen if we cook brisket this way, if we cook beef ribs this way, rib fingers, but especially the smaller cuts that dry out a little bit, that couldn't be done without it. We did it now properly, and of course beef cheeks is the right ingredient to do it with, but this is so amazing. Okay, Jim, glad you're here. I want you to cut off a bite of these beef cheeks and tell me what you think of it.
Nice. Okay, that's great.
Isn't it?
That's really tender.
It's nice, right?
Wow. Can I?
Yeah, go ahead. We got 3 more.
That's so nice. No, that's really good.
Insane, right? Look at that. We got a beautiful smoke ring. It's juicy throughout. It's not fall apart tender to the part where it just falls apart on its own. It still has the structure, but it's super soft. Expect more. We tried it on beef cheeks. Does it work on ... Tell me what to try this on.
Where did we try this on? Yeah.
Let me know. Ooh.